Folks, welcome to the update for this weekend just gone. That's the Saturday, which is the 15th of May. Quite a lot to get through this morning, I think. I've packed quite a lot in here, even though there weren't many games yesterday. So I'm going to start with the Northern League like normal. Only 2 games in the Northern League. Garstang, 15 points for a win against Netherfield. That was quite comfortable. And the other game, Kendal versus Fleetwood, that was a tie. They were both Duckworth Lewis or over target sort of a restructured target game. I don't know whether they used Duckworth Lewis in the Northern League, but there was an adjusted target. So Garstang got 15 points against Netherfield. Kendal Fleetwood tied. Bizarrely, it's not that bizarre really. Fleetwood were one short of their target when they lost their last wicket. And I always like this. Chris Miller got the last wicket with an LBW, and our scores tied. Now Chris, I wasn't at the game, so I don't know, but Chris does a lot of his bowling round the wicket. There's an off spinner, turns it a lot, and so last wicket for a tie with an LBW, pressure on the umpire there. So 2 wins for a win for Garstang and a tie with Fleetwood and Kendal. Morecambe and Blackpool was the game of the day. Obviously rained off 5.6. It's 5 each in the Northern League if you get rained off. Going back to that Kendal Fleetwood game, even though it was a tie, it was 11 points to Fleetwood and 9 to Kendal. I don't know the inner workings of the point system in the Northern League these days. I used to. I've gone off it now. I don't know. Looking at the league for the best batting performance, in that Garstang win against Netherfield, Michael Walling, 68 not out, opened the batting, carried it through. Effective performance, efficient there, did what's required. And also in that same innings, for Netherfield, Ollie Weileman, 5 for 20. Now, I've known Ollie for a lot of years. Firstly, when he played at Ambleside, and it's taken him a while to pick into the Northern League and to get to the level. 5 for 20, that's decent bowling. That is a nagging sort of awkward kind of bowler, hard to get away. So that's good bowling. Looking at the Northern League table, we've got Longridge at the top on 55, with Netherfield on 50 and Fulwood on 43. Then it's quite tight behind them there for 3 or 4 places. Down at the bottom, we've still got Leyland on 17, St Anne's on 24 and Lancaster on 30. So Leyland are getting cast adrift a little bit there. They need to look at that. They don't want to be going down to the Palace Shield. So that's the Northern League. We move on to the Palace Shield. 3 results here today and 3 games off. Again, it's only 2 points for an abandoned game in the Palace Shield. There were wins for Preston, Penwortham and Kirkham and Wesham. So Kirkham and Wesham and Preston and Penwortham were the wins there. My game of the day was Penwortham versus Great Eccleston, and I'd have picked a cracker there if I'd gone to this. It was reduced to a 20-over game. Penwortham won, and so they get the win, 12 points to 5 in the end up it was, which doesn't seem quite fair when I go through quickly what happened in that game. Penwortham with a win there. Great Eccleston batted first, 114 all out. And so that's in 20 overs. It's a 20 over match. Penwortham, 115 for 9 off the last ball. So that's a great game. Tight right to the end, and they won it off the last ball. Very strangely, they needed 6 to win in the last over, and they got them in singles, 6 singles to win the game. That's quite unusual, that. However, they've done that, and they've got a good win there. Performances of the day. Bowling wise, Jack Armour for Penwortham against Great Eccleston, 5 for 14. That's a good effort. That's quite a low scoring game as well. But best performance of the day, it's an all round performance by Imran Jethwa for Preston versus Vernon Carers. That was a very low scoring game. That's like Vernon's were all out for 70 odd and Preston knocked him off for 8 or 9. And Jethwa for Preston, such a low scoring game, he took 3 for 23. Then he hit 42 not out, chasing 70 odd. So that's a decent performance, that all rounder. He opened the bat and he was not out at the end. So Preston have done well there to get their first points. Looking at the table, at the top, that defeat for Vernon's, it brings them back to the pack, really. We've got Vernon's on 49, Penwith on 43, and Thornton Cleveland's on 42. And then there's a couple of other teams behind them, Penrith and Kirkham. So that's quite tight there. Then down at the bottom, Fylde and South Shore are on 12. They're cut off a little bit, really. Croston are on 19, and Preston have jumped out of the relegation zone. They've got 21. So that's quite tight down there at the bottom. South Shore and Fylde could do with a win, though. And then we move on to the Westmoreland League. 2 games here. The other 4 were abandoned. That's 6 points for an abandoned game in the Westmoreland League, so that changes it a little bit. And we'll come on to Unlucky Wharton in a bit. I'll just have a look at them when we look at the bottom of the table. The wins in the Westmoreland League for Carnforth and for Aging Arnside. So Arnside went to Wharton and won comfortably. Best bowling of the day was Jimmy Crawford. He's rolling back the years again. He's got quite a lot of years to roll back. I mean, he must be nearly my age, but he's still doing it. 4 for 13 at Wharton. That's a good effort to bowl them out cheaply. And then Arnside knocked him off for 4. But the best all-round performance of the day, I think, it's got to be really. It was Shane Dixon for Carnforth at Shireshead. Shireshead got 160 odd. Carnforth knocked him off for 2. And Shane Dixon, the Carnforth keeper, took a catch, 2 stumpings, and then 86 not out of 78 balls. So that's a decent performance. That 163 Shireshead, that wouldn't have been a bad score, to be fair. And it seemed that Carnforth just were on their A game and got the job done there for the 12 points. So if we look at the tables, at the top we got Carnforth. I'm discounting Sedbergh School, although they are top. They have got 52 points, but I'm discounting them because they're only playing half a season. So we've got Carnforth on 50, Arnside on 49, and Westgate on 46. Now Westgate were scuppered really yesterday because they had to settle for 6 points for a rain draw. Well, Arnside and Carnforth got a full win. Then at the bottom we've got Wharton on 4, Burneyside on 12, and Bear on 14. Now I'll say unlucky Wharton really. They've played 5 games, they've lost 4, and they've had a losing draw. But both of the times when most of the games were rained off, they've actually played. They've made the effort to play, and they've lost. So you could say they've lost out on 12 points there. So they'd be up and running really. But it's looking like they're a bit marooned at the bottom on 4, and there's things for them to do. So that's that. I'm just going to quickly go through the individual stats tables just very quickly. And again, it's on number of runs and number of wickets. So I'm going to go Northern League. We've got Charlie Swarbrick 248, Ben Barrow 190, and Sidesh Ladd 168. And bowling, we've got Abe Negi 14, and Jonathan Millward and Matt Jackson on 13. And in Palace Shield, we've got Matthew Stevenson on 227 runs batting, Ian Wormsley 207, and John Eade on 194. Then in the bowling, we've got Jacob Holland, he's got 15, Andy Hogarth's got 13, and there's several of the bowlers that have got 10 wickets. And then we go to the Westmoreland League in the batting. Ryan Nelson's on 292, and he were out yesterday for the first time, so that's his average now, 292. I'm sure it won't stay like that for long. Chris Parry's on 221, they're both from Carnforth, and Robert White from Bears on 204. He's had some decent scores there. Bowling wise, Sean Partridge from Wharton is on 12. He's a leading wicket taker now. Bearing in mind that they've not won yet, it's a good effort for him there. He's up there on 12 wickets. Then we've got Darren Wills from Milnthorpe, Zach Buchanan from Westgate, and Jim Crawford from Arnside, all on 11. So that's quite tight. So that's the roundup for this week. I think leagues are looking competitive. I think the Westmoreland League looks very competitive. If you look at it, Carnforth are on 50, and then all the way down to Milnthorpe on 42, and you've got Heysham, Westgate and Arnside in the middle there. I think that's tight. And I think the Palace Shield could be getting tight with Vernon's on 49, and then you've got another 4 teams within 5 points of each other. So that's fairly tight. Northern League, not as tight. Longridge and Netherfield running away with it a bit at the top, but then you've got this group of teams. There's 5 teams all within 5 points of each other from Fulwood down to Kendal, so that could be interesting. That's the roundup for this week. Let's do the fixture show on Thursday, and hopefully we get some better weather again next weekend. Thanks for watching, folks.